What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm taking a look at the sneaker releases in the last 10 days of June and whether I think they're gonna sit or whether I think they're gonna sell. First off, yes, this video is a lot later than it usually is, it's about a week late, and that's because I was traveling, I was going to London, I was going to the beach. I obviously got some sunburn, but the camera adds 3 shades of red. I'm not actually this red. I'm pretty red, but I'm not this red. Also, huge thank you to Reshoevn8r for sponsoring this video. They provide the best sneaker cleaning products for any of your sneaker cleaning needs. If you guys want to check them out, make sure to do so by clicking the link in the description below and using my discount code SETH for 10% off your order. But like I said, there's really only 10 days left in the month, and the reason I decided to actually film this video rather than just kind of letting it go is because there is a lot of good stuff coming out in the end of June. So this one will probably be shorter than most, but that's okay because there's some really good stuff dropping. Starting off the month, or should I say June 20th, we've got a Parley Ultra Boost dropping. We've had a lot of Parley Ultra Boost drop in recent memory. There's been a lot of really great collaborations. Obviously, you guys know me. I love what Adidas and Parley are doing and how they're taking recycled ocean plastics and putting them into sneakers. This sneaker is no different, except this time around it's an Ultra Boost 4.0 in a black upper. I've got to be honest, visually it's not that exciting. It's not a sneaker that I'm planning to pick up, but if it's something you want, it's not a bad way to go. Like most of the recent Parley Ultra Boosts, I just don't see this shoe selling, so I'm going to give it a sit. Next up, we've got another Parley sneaker. This time around, it's the Laceless Ultra Boost. I don't love the Ultra Boost Laceless. I just don't think it's a very nice looking sneaker. Of course, I love the collaboration, like I said before, between Parley and Ultra Boost. I think that's great. The shoe itself, not a fan of. I'm actually honestly a little surprised that Adidas is still making the Ultra Boost Laceless because I feel like it's not really even selling that well for them. Most pairs that I see are usually on discount, but I shouldn't be one to judge because I don't see their sales figures. I have no idea how well the shoe is doing, but honestly, I just don't see it selling. So obviously, I'm gonna give it a sit. Did I mention I've been traveling for 3 weeks straight and I'm wiped? So that's why this video's energy is down here as compared to up here. Hopefully, midway through the video, this will kick in and I'll be back up here, but right now, no. And finally, rounding off June 20th, we've got a pretty big collaboration between SNS and Adidas, the SNS Future Craft 4D. I'm actually really excited about this collaboration because it's the first time that Adidas has collaborated on a 4D sneaker with another brand. Since the Ultra Boost and the NMD became insanely popular, Adidas started doing collaborations with other sneaker retailers and brands. Now, obviously, Boost collaborations aren't as popular because the technology is more widespread. However, the 4D technology is still brand new and people are still all over it. So for that reason, it's really exciting to see Adidas do something that's really insanely limited to really push back up the hype. And even though honestly I'm not a huge fan of the way the sneaker looks, I don't think it looks bad. I actually think it's a really nice looking sneaker. I just don't really love the colorway. It's still gonna be something that I'm gonna go for because I love my Future Craft 4Ds and I wouldn't mind having a second pair. Obviously, because the sneaker is hyped and it's limited, it's definitely gonna sell. Moving on to June 21st, we've got probably the most releases on a single day for the next 10 days. The first is the Kyrie 4 N7. Obviously, the Kyrie 4 is an excellent basketball sneaker and it's doing really, really well. But as we've seen with a lot of the Kyrie line, there hasn't really been any insanely limited sneakers. And obviously, how limited a sneaker is or how hyped the sneaker is really drives sales. So for that reason, I just don't see this shoe selling. Next up, we've got another N7 sneaker, the Nike Air Force 1 Low N7. Not a bad sneaker overall, not a bad colorway overall, not really something I'm interested in, and honestly, not really something I think a lot of people are gonna be interested in. So for that reason, I think this shoe is also gonna sit. And then rounding off the N7 collection, we've got one women's exclusive, the Nike Air Max 1 in tie-dye blue. This is actually the most interesting sneaker in the collection. I think it's actually a really nice looking sneaker overall. A little unfortunate that it's a women's only sneaker because, like I said, I think it's the strongest sneaker in the line. But with that being said, as good as the sneaker looks, I don't think it's enough to drum up the hype for the sneaker to actually sell out. So for that reason, I think it's gonna sit. The next sneaker dropping on June 21st is the Air VaporMax 97 Grape. I really don't love the Air VaporMax 97. I think they took a really great upper from a sneaker and put it on a kind of weak midsole and outsole from a different sneaker, and I think it just doesn't really work for me. I'm also not a huge fan of the Grape colorway. I love the Grape 5s, both the white and the black colorway, but this one doesn't really do it for me, and I think the hype on the VaporMax 97s has died down a little bit, so I think for that reason this shoe is also gonna sit. Next up, we've got two Puma releases, both of which are actually pretty exciting. The first is the Puma Thunderelektra in the black, white, and orange colorway. About a month ago, we got the Puma Thunder Spectra, which is essentially the same exact silhouette as this, except in a different colorway. And that shoe obviously sold out. It was a really nice looking sneaker, and even when it restocked, it sold out again. The colorway on this sneaker isn't as strong as the original, but I think people are still hyped on the original enough to actually want to buy this shoe. So because of that, I think there's actually a pretty good chance that this shoe could sell out. And the second Puma to drop is also a Puma Thunderelektra, except this time in the gray, violet, and black colorway. I don't think it'll sell as quickly as the orange colorway, but honestly, in my opinion, I think I like this colorway a little bit more. I'm not a huge fan of rocking orange. It's not something that I can really pull off. This gray, violet, and black colorway definitely looks a little bit easier to pull off. I think this shoe also will probably sell out. Moving on to the Adidas side of things, on June 21st, we've got the Adidas Continental 80 in cloud white, black, and cream. This is the actual shoe that inspired the Adidas Power Phase. It's obviously a retro sneaker from a couple decades ago, and I think overall it's actually really nice looking. It's very similar to Kanye's Power Phase, except instead it's got this red stripe through the middle, which some people might like or some people might not like. And to be honest, this is one of those rare shoes that I actually like all three colorways equally. I think there is actually a decent amount of hype behind this sneaker, and I could kind of see it go either way depending on availability and how many pairs they actually created. But I'm gonna be optimistic and I'm gonna give this shoe a sell. With one caveat, I think it'll probably restock in the future. And finally, rounding off June 21st, we've got two Adidas Young Ones dropping. Because of the dad shoe trend, most of these shoes are pretty heavily anticipated. I personally prefer the red, white, and blue colorway because I think it's just easier to rock than that weird sort of orange colorway. But with that being said, some of the people that I talked to really only wanted to rock the orange colorway, so that's just totally my own opinion. I think the overall silhouette is really clean, and I'm excited to see new colorways of this sneaker. Whether I think either colorway is gonna sit or gonna sell, I think they're probably both gonna sell. Maybe not instantly. I don't think they're going to be impossible to get. If you want a pair, you're probably going to have a pretty good chance of at least a couple hours. But I think by the end of the day, or maybe the end of the weekend, all the pairs will be sold out. My opinion, but I think it's a strong enough silhouette that it's probably going to do pretty well. Moving on to June 22nd, we've got one release. And that release is the Nike Cortez Kenney. This is obviously the signature Kendrick Lamar Nike Cortez. It comes in all black with white and red accents. And because of the Kendrick Lamar collaboration, I think it's one of the most hyped Nike Cortez silhouettes in a long time. Overall, it's a really clean shoe, and I do actually really like Kendrick Lamar, but honestly, the Nike Cortez isn't a sneaker I'm really that into, so for that reason, I'm probably not going to go too hard for this shoe, but because of what it is, I think it's definitely going to sell out. Moving on to June 23rd, we've got the Air Max 270 Be True. This sneaker is part of the Be True pack, and because of that, it has rainbow accents throughout. The 270 air bubble is dyed in sort of this rainbow pattern, which I think actually looks pretty good on the shoe. I'm not a massive fan of the 270, so it's probably not a shoe that I'm looking to grab, but I think it's a shoe that a lot of people do want. Because the 270 is still pretty popular, and I think the Be True collaboration is a good selling point for a lot of people, I think the shoe might sell out. Next up is the Nike SB Dunk Low Ride Life. This is a black Nike SB Dunk Low. Not a bad shoe. Not that interesting, to be honest. I don't really have much to say about it. I think my feeling on this sneaker is probably pretty similar to a lot of people out there who aren't really Nike SB Dunk heads, so most likely I see this shoe sitting. Next up, we've got the Airmore Uptempo In Your Face. This is actually a pretty clean white and black Airmore Uptempo. As you'd expect from this Scottie Pippen sneaker, you've got the Air text written along the side with the red accent on the air bubble. The Airmore Uptempo is definitely an acquired taste, and it's a very bulky sneaker, so if you're not a huge fan of it, it doesn't really need to be something that you need to pick up. And with Nike's big push of the Airmore Uptempos last year, I think they sort of pushed out a lot of the hype because they released so many of them, so for that reason, I think the shoe is probably gonna sit. Next up is the Nike Vapor Street Flyknit College Navy. This is another Nike Vapor Street Flyknit. Good shoe overall, still haven't had a chance to test it. Actually, that's a lie. I just haven't really wanted to test it because I don't love the way it looks. I've heard it's super comfortable, but not really for me. At the end of the day, it's just another colorway. If you were looking for a blue version of this shoe, go for this guy. If you don't care, you don't care. Personally, I think this is one of the weaker colorways of the Vapor Street Flyknit, so for that reason, I think it's gonna sit. And finally, rounding off June 23rd, we've got the Michigan Air Jordan 12. This is a really interesting sneaker because it looks like a PE. They made it to mass production. It's an all Michigan blue Air Jordan 12 with the yellow Michigan accents throughout. Count on the fact that this shoe will be very limited and will be very difficult to get. So if you're a Michigan fan, really like Air Jordan 12s or love limited sneakers, you're probably gonna have to call your plug because this is not gonna be an easy sneaker to get. With that being said, it should be obvious, but this shoe is definitely gonna sell out. Moving on to June 28th, we've got like 7 releases in the Just Do It collection. A collection that a lot of people have been calling sort of an off-white knockoff a little bit, even though it's still a Nike collection. I don't know, they all kind of look like they were going for that sort of off-white vibe. Especially the Air Max ones, which actually I think are the best looking sneakers in the collection, but we'll get to that in a second. You've got 3 Air Max 95s dropping, a white one, an orange one, and a black one. You've got 2 Air Force Ones dropping, a white one and a black one. And then you've got 2 Air Max 1s dropping, a white one and an orange one. Now, like I said, they all sort of have that off-white vibe. The ones that probably look most like an off-white sneaker are the Air Max 1s. They all have the phrase "Just Do It" plastered all over the shoe. On some sneakers it's embroidered, on other sneakers it's printed or debossed. It's a little weird, if I'm honest. It's not really my thing, and it's not something I think a lot of people are gonna like. Rather than just giving all 7 sneakers a sit rating, I think if there are 2 sneakers that are gonna sell, it's gonna be the Air Max 1s, because they look like off-white sneakers. But take that with a grain of salt, because I think if they do sell, it's probably only gonna be on the sneakers app, because everything seems to sell out on the sneakers app. And I think the only reason they may be hard to find is because they only release in like certain cities or like in certain Nike labs or something like that. But if you live near a Nike lab or a city that gets a lot of Nike releases, I just don't think you should have a hard time at all trying to grab any of these shoes if you want them. Screw it, let's give them all a sit. And finally, moving on to June 30th, we've got 3 crazy hot sneakers dropping. Let's start off with our Jordans. We've got 2 Levi's Air Jordan 4s dropping. The first is the Levi's Air Jordan 4 in the white colorway. I have the original navy blue Levi's 4s, and I think they're one of my favorite Air Jordan 4s in my entire collection. And to be honest, I think the sort of light wash or white denim pair is even better looking. It's essentially the same pair as the original Levi's pair, except in all white with a gum outsole. Especially if people start customizing the shoe or like dyeing it in certain colors. I think there's so many cool things you can do with this shoe, and I'm really excited to see what Instagram does with it. Obviously, because of the hype behind this collaboration and the fact that the shoe is going to be very limited, it's definitely going to sell out. Also dropping on the same day, we've got another Levi's Air Jordan 4, this time in the black colorway. Same deal, super hot collaboration, extremely well done, this time in black instead of white. You've got your black or sort of dark gray denim upper with a gum outsole. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I might actually like the shoe better than the white one. I don't know. Whatever. Regardless, I don't think I have a chance to get either, but I think they're both fire shoes. Obviously, same deal on the black pair. Extremely limited, extremely hyped, impossible to get. It's definitely gonna sell out. I would actually be interested to know which colorway is more limited than the other, if it's the white colorway or the black colorway. I don't know if they made the same number of both pairs, or maybe like certain ones are only releasing in certain regions. I have no idea. I'm sure we'll know more when the shoe actually releases, but I'd be interested to see. And finally, rounding off the day and the month, we've got one last release with the Adidas Yeezy 350 V2 in the butter colorway. This shoe has been rumored for a long time, and now it's finally releasing. I've wanted another plain Yeezy V2 since the white colorway from last year, and it just never seemed to happen. The stripe on the side of the shoe, while in some colorways it looks good, it just never really did it for me. So this super clean sort of like sesame or brown colored sneaker I think looks really, really great, and is gonna be super easy to wear. And like I've said in previous videos, it sort of reminds me of the original V1s, which I think are my favorite Yeezys to release, at least with Adidas. So for that reason, I'm definitely picking up a pair. I will definitely be reviewing a pair, and I can't wait to grab it. First Yeezy I've been excited about actually in quite a while. But guys, that pretty much wraps up the list for this month. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts on the remaining releases in June and which ones you're looking forward to most, so make sure to leave those in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.